Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Analysis for UPSC 2025. As you know, it is 13th July today, and we are going to discuss seven important articles which are related to the UPSC, which are related to your exams, and we are going to discuss them in detail, and we are going to discuss everything which would be important for your prelims as well as mains. So please don't look at my introduction. I often fumble in introducing, but do ignore this. But trust me, stay with me. I will try to explain all these articles in a very simple language. Before we start, I would like to introduce this channel to you guys. I started this initiative from the 1st of July itself, in which we every day upload two videos. The first one, which is this, in this video we will discuss the political news analysis. We will discuss the daily news analysis, every day from the Hindu newspaper, the most important articles which are relevant to your exam. We would try to discuss that. We would try to crack them down, and how can we implement the knowledge in our for our exams, for our preparation. Then in the evening or night session, I would upload another video which would be related to the daily quiz. In that video, we would discuss the questions related to the current affairs, which we would discuss now, so that it would help you revise the current affairs. And then we would discuss the previous year questions, so that it will give you the idea how the question paper will come in your upcoming exam. It will and you know how important the previous year questions are. So without any delay, let us look at the topics which we have to discuss today, and let's start it. The first topic, it is about the political instability in Nepal. We had seen how the return of KP Sharma Oli is inevitable now. How this that we see the three major political parties in Nepal, and how the coalition has broken there, and we would discuss about it. Then after, we have to discuss about the public distribution system. Then we would discuss about the Xinjiang region of China, usually known for the Uyghur Muslims there. Then we would discuss about the national security advisors of India and sorry, not China, India and US meet. I had miss you know it is the typo error, I guess, or I had something else in my mind. That's why I had wrote it. Then after that, we would discuss about the CPI data which has been brought out for the month of June. Then we would discuss the most controversial topic, that would be Samvidhan Hatya Divas. We would discuss about it, and then finally we would discuss the zoological survey of India research, what they had found. So without any delay, let's start our discussion by one. Since we have to understand the first we have to discuss the political instability in Nepal. For that, we have to understand the how important Nepal is for us, and why we are going to discuss it. Nepal being the another country, why we need to discuss it for our exams, and how Nepal is important for India and in our neighborhood. So before we would jump to that thing, first we would see the context of the news, why we are taking this article today, we are discussing the Nepal issue. So why it is in news? Because of the instability in there. हम अगर देखेंगे जो वहाँ नेपाल में मेजरली तीन पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज है. एक कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ नेपाल, उसका जो लीडर है प्रचंडा, हु इज द करंट पीएम ऑफ नेपाल. दूसरी पार्टी जो है वो है यूएमएल, उसका जो लीडर है वो है क्या नाम है उसका, केपी शर्मा ओली. And the third is the Nepal Congress. These are three major political parties which are in news right now in Nepal. तो वहाँ पे सिचुएशन क्या थी? जो वहाँ पे कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ नेपाल थी, हुज लीडर इज प्रचंडा, उनकी कोalition थी यूएमएल के साथ, हुज लीडर इज केपी शर्मा ओली. तो इनकी कोalition चल रही थी. वी नो दैट जो कोalition गवर्नमेंट है, इट इज़ वन ऑफ द जो coalition government बनते, that is it is very hard for them to survive when the differences are very far away. आप imagine करो, अगर कांग्रेस और बीजेपी की coalition government बनेगी तो वो कैसी होगी. It is something like that, because these two parties are very opposed to each other, but they did not enjoy the majority, so they formed the government. अब फिर क्या हुआ, आफ्टर सम टाइम कुछ डिफरेंसेस क्रिएट हुए, एंड फाइनली द यूएमएल जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी थी, दे विड्रॉ देयर सपोर्ट टू द Prachanda's group of Communist Party of Nepal, and now UML has joined the hands with the Nepal Congress. अब जब UML withdrew the support and joined hands with the Nepal Congress, so उसकी वजह से क्या होगा, now it is inevitable that, तो ये बोला जाता है कि जो केपी शर्मा ओली है, he would become the next prime minister of Nepal. So this is right now the condition in Nepal. Why is this important for us to understand? How does it impact India? So there is a history behind it. अगर हम देखेंगे ना, first we will discuss the KP Sharma Oli. To understand the KP Sharma Oli, we have to understand the whole history of India and Nepal relation. For that, let's go back to the 90s. Let us go back to there and see what were the condition there, or how it started. How it started from, as we know, it was the monarchy first. How it went from monarchy to the democratic monarchy, and then finally to democracy. And how this how was this path traveled? For that, we have to, wait, and you have to wait, and let's discuss about it. To understand this political turmoil in Nepal right now, to understand the KP Sharma Oli, as I said, that we have to go back a little bit in the history and see what were the conditions there and how it all happened. First, to understand it, we have to understand the geography of the Nepal. For that, we have to understand, which will give us the idea about the geopolitical situation there. There is a Madhesis group. There are two groups in, two, I would say, two tribes in Nepal. In Nepal, which are मतलब कि जो आपस में लड़ते हैं, one Madhesis and the Pahadis. Pahadis, they were the rulers, and Madhesis they always feel that the Pahadis, they did not recognize them well. उन्होंने उनको फेवर नहीं किया, and उन्होंने उनको दबा के रखा है. So with these Madhesis, they are from the Tarai region and are very close to India. India has taken up their cause. India has taken up the cause of Madhesis, and they had always supported the cause of India. Has always tried to support the cause of the Madhesis, and it has, because of that, it has created the friction between India and Nepal relations. We cannot at all ignore the Nepal itself. We cannot, because we had shared the long history with it. We share civilization relations with Nepal. Nepal has the buffer state to shield India. Nepal has been the buffer state to shield India from north. Nepal was the Nepal was the theological state back then, when before our relations started, before it was the democracy. And India and Nepal, they became very close friends. Nepal is also the landlocked country, so depend on India for trade and commerce, because there is no shipping there, because क्योंकि जब वहाँ पे कोई समुद्र नहीं है, तो so it is very difficult for them to trade through. मतलब कि जब है ही नहीं कोई, तो so they have to depend on India. Also, in 1950, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was signed between India and Nepal. We had open borders with Nepal. There is free movement of people, food, and goods. And how this all started. These are some points which are very cozy. I can say in our layman's language, that cozy relationship with the Nepal, all that open borders and all that. But how these tensions started between India and Nepal, how this political instability led to these tensions. It all started when the Sikkim merged with India in 1973. It draw the concern to the Nepalese monarchy. मतलब कि वो डर गया अंदर से, कि उसने देखा कि Sikkim, and he thought that Sikkim was forced to join India, so he thought that the same fate would happen to him. And then slowly and steadily he started to develop relations with the China for the security purpose. मतलब कि उसने वो अपना मतलब कि वो अपनी political जो instability महसूस की, उसकी वजह से उसने from India जो उसने insecurity मिली जब इंडिया ने सिक्किम को अपने अंदर लिया, so he started to develop relationships with China. And also for China, Nepal is very much important because after जब and China wanted, मतलब China चाहता था कि मुझे कोई ऐसी चीज़ मिले जिसकी वजह से मतलब उसकी रिलेशनशिप चाइना नेपाल के साथ अच्छी बन जाए, एंड इट वाज द बेस्ट अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर चाइना. और उसी वक्त अगर हम देखेंगे, चाइना हैड ऑलरेडी एनेक्टेड तिब्बत एंड मनी रेफ्यूजीज फ्रॉम तिब्बत हैड fled to Nepal and India. So it was the most better time for China to develop relationship with Nepal and use it for its own self interests. you know जब ये इंडिया चाइना का इशू आया तो जो पॉलिटिकल इंस्टेबिलिटी भी आनी चाहिए थी, क्योंकि कुछ पार्टीज दे वांटेड द फेवर्स फ्रॉम चाइना एंड सम पार्टीज दे वांटेड टू फेवर्स फ्रॉम इंडिया, एंड दिस लेड टू the political instability in India, in Nepal. Also, let's come back to the Madhesis issue in Nepal and how India had helped, and monarchy had to transition to monarchy democracy. How India, मतलब ये जो हमने already इसके बारे में डिस्कस किया, how monarchy transited to monarchy democracy, and how moist civil war started from 1990s to 2006 when China was supporting them. That China was supporting the moist rebellions, and India started the army of the Nepal. And इनसाइड मतलब कि एक साइड से तो वो आर्मी को सपोर्ट कर रहे थे इंडिया, और दूसरी साइड से वी वर आल्सो सपोर्टिंग द मॉइस्ट रेबल. और उसी वक्त जो करंट पीएम है इनका प्रचंड, ही वाज द लीडर ऑफ द मॉइस्ट रेबल ग्रुप, ही वाज द मेंबर ऑफ द मॉइस्ट रेबल ग्रुप. देन India supported army and also worked with the Maoist fraction. In 2005 and 6 we reached to the 12 point peace agreement, और 2005 में, एंड फिर उसके बाद फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द 2008 से फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द constitution was started. But it took very long for Nepal to draw the constitution, because it was said by many political parties that India is interfering in internal issues for the cause of the Madhesis. और वो कहते थे कि इंडिया चाहता है कि उनको फलानी चीज़ें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में मिले, मतलब दैट सिक्योरिटी दे वांटेड. बट once the constitution was framed in 2015, India was not satisfied with the Madhesis, and they saw that their issues were not fully taken in consideration while framing the constitution. And also again in 2015 these Madhesis, they started the revolt, they protested, and all this political turmoil happened in Nepal. और उसी मतलब कि उसी दौरान अगर हम देखेंगे तो जो ये है मतलब कि KP Sharma Oli, he became the PM of, अगर हम इसका track history, why we are concerned about his मतलब कि about him being the PM of Nepal. अगर हम देखेंगे in 2016, in 2019 he became PM 2 times, and we saw that how his anti-India stand, how his stand for he was against India's interest, and he went close to the China, and went close to the Chinese initiatives, led China to to work in its Nepal. Also we had मतलब कि हमारा सिक्योरिटी लिंक है, मतलब कि अब हम क्यों इतना मतलब why we are so much concerned, there are many reasons. One of that is we have security links with Nepal, and if KP Kohli will become the PM, Oli will become the PM, and he will let China to interfere in and influence these networks, and by this it may lead to the security threat in India also. Also, we had seen in 2020 when 1920 when he was the PM, he took up the old border issues, those issues which were settled by British. Yeah, they left some, unsettled business, but that was almost settled between Nepal and India for a long time. But when after the reorganization of the J&K, India framed the new map, and at that time only the Nepal ने भी क्या कहा कि there are some areas, for example, the Kalapani region in Uttarakhand, Nepal said that this area belongs to their territory. That Kalapani region belongs to Nepal, and they raised voice, and it was the same PM who is Oli KP Sharma Oli. और फिर उसकी वजह से ये इशू इसको इस छोटे से इशू को उन्होंने बड़ा बनाया, एंड ऑल्सो फिर नेपाल ने अपना मैप दिया, एंड दे पुट दैट मतलब अपना नया मैप दिया, और उन्होंने ये काला पानी रीजन को उस एरिया में अपने मैप में ऐड किया, और उनकी जो करेंसी है उस पर भी वो एरिया दिखाया गया है. सो दिस वाज अबाउट instability in Nepal and how it could impact India. अब अगर हम देखेंगे, अगर यही और एक बार आएगा, so there would be high security threats for India, और जो इसकी closeness जो close हो रहा है चाइना के साथ, it would definitely impact the India's interests. So let us see and watch what will happen. Let's recap it a little bit, so that it will give you the summarized idea what we discussed in this discussion. For Nepal's condition right now, how the three political parties, the instability in them, how the coalition was broken, and how the KP Sharma Oli's party joined with the Nepal Congress, and he is likely to become the new PM. How we discussed about the what led to this all this conflict. We had seen the Madhesi issue, which is in the Tarai region, very close to India. We had seen the conflict between Madhesis and Pahadis, and how India supported the Madhesis' concerns. And we had seen that the Nepal, it was the theological state, and the friendship between India and Nepal, and the friendship agreement between India and Nepal. We had seen when there was the conflict between Madhesis and the government, how India supported Madhesis, and finally how monarchy was changed to the democracy. We discussed that also. Then we also discussed how China started its how the Chinese monarch in 1973, when Sikkim became the part of the India, how he felt threatened and went close to China, and how China took that opportunity and supported when there was the conflict between Madhesis and the army, conflict between the Maoist group and the army, how they supported the Maoist group in that, and India supported the army. But both there was some internal conversation between the Maoist group and the Indian officials. Then finally we discussed about how the constitution was framed, how there were concerns that India is interfering in it because it took very long time, and also then how Madhesis came out when once the constitution was framed and their demands were not fulfilled. And then finally we discussed about how KP Sharma's old when last few times he has become the PM, how he has developed his relationship with China, and how he has ignored the India's and his anti-India stand. We discussed all that, and I hope I did not made it complicated to you guys. As it is always said that no subject is complex, but it is the guide who makes it. So it is often said by some great person. So I hope I did not made it complex for you. I tried to make it very simple. And let's move to the next topic. Here we have to discuss about the impact of public distribution system. These public distribution system, we see the free food grains and highly subsidized grains are distributed to the people, to the poor, mostly for it is the most critical social welfare program given by Indian government. According to data, almost 70% of the rural population and 50% of the urban population depend on it. दिस इज मतलब कि ये जो फ्री फूड ग्रेन्स मतलब कि इसके बारे में डिस्कस भी हुआ था अबाउट 80 करोड़ people get these free food grains. It was discussed during the elections. आपने भी सुना होगा. So here it is मतलब इसके बारे में और मतलब कि बताया जा रहा है कि about 70% of the rural and 50% of the urban population that depend on it. And about household consumption, it is given by, we have the household consumption expenditure survey. मतलब ये इसके बारे में बताता है what is the impact of the public distribution system. इसका impact कैसा रहा है, what is the मतलब कि ये इसमें जो it was published, the household consumption expenditure survey, it was published in 2022-23. It says the money spent and it says about what is the money spent and consumed by a household, and it discusses about its survey. And what does it says that once this public distribution system was brought in, it has helped poor to the highest extent, because in poor household they are left with more money once they are able to get this food grains easily available. When they are able to get these free food grains, the more money remains in their hand. Also, जो उनके पास पैसा बचता है, that money they can spend in other items, for example upliftment of nutrition. For example, अगर वो पहले एक चीज खाते थे which has low nutrition value, now after they have money because of this public distribution system, now they have lot of money in their hand or some money in their hand. They can use that money either to uplift their nutrition or they can use it for other issues, for example education of a child, और बाकी सब चीज़ों में वो इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं. और अगर हम देखेंगे ये जो हाउस होल्ड कंजप्शन एक्सपेंडिचर सर्वे, इट इज ए क्वेश्चन मे बी आस्क्ड इन योर प्रीलिम्स, हु पब्लिशेस इट. इट इज पब्लिश्ड बाय NSSO अंडर मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स एंड प्रोग्राम इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. सो इसमें जो पब्लिक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सिस्टम है, इसमें देयर कुड बी सम एरर्स ऑल्सो. कुछ लोग ऐसे होंगे जो डिजर्व नहीं करते हैं ये लेना, दे आर गेटिंग दिस, और कुछ लोग ऐसे होंगे जो डिजर्व करते हैं ये लेना एंड दे आर नॉट गेटिंग दिस. To solve this issue, we have monthly per capita consumption expenditure. It talks about how much expenditure is spent per month on essential items. एक month में essential items पे कितना consume किया जाता है, मतलब वो that is calculated in monthly per capita expenditure, monthly per capita consumption expenditure. Then we have value of household consumption in month. It includes free मतलब ये both जो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट फूड भी उनको मिलता है और जो आउट ऑफ पॉकेट एक्सपेंडिचर है वो उनको ऐड करता है. सो दिस गिव्स द ब्रीफ वैल्यू टू द पॉलिसी मेकर्स, हाउ व्हाट इज द पॉवर्टी, मतलब कि कितना लोगों को जरूरत है, हाउ मच दे हैव टू स्पेंड ऑन इट एंड हाउ मच द पीपल नीड. By combining these monthly per capita consumption expenditure and value of household consumption in month, एक चीज़ें कंबाइन करने के बाद एक हमें डाटा मिलता है कि कितने लोग गरीब हैं, कितने लोगों को हाउ मच दे नीड, क्या क्या ज़रूरतें हैं, वो सारी चीज़ें मिल सकती है. और we can draw a more reliable poverty line from this. By calculating this we can draw the more reliable poverty line, और जिससे हमें अच्छे से आइडिया हो what is the need of the nation right now. So let's recap this article. Let us see what we discussed in it. In public distribution system we discussed about the जो free distribution of food grains and highly subsidized grains are happening in our country. एंड इसमें हमने देखा कि तकरीबन 70% मतलब रूरल एरिया और 50% अर्बन पॉपुलेशन जो है दे डिपेंड ऑन इट. it according to the household consumption expenditure survey, जो ये मतलब कि because of the PDS, because of the public distribution system, it has guaranteed food security to the people, to the poor people, and it has increased the money in their hand. Now they can spend that money on the nutrition or any other places, or any other where they want to spend for any other investment. We should know that the household consumption expenditure survey, it is published by the NSSO, and also we can say that there are some errors that could happen. For example, there are some people which don't deserve to take this, they are taking, and there are some people which deserve to take it, they are not taking it. So for this we have two initiatives. For one is monthly per capita consumption expenditure. In this इसमें क्या बताया जाता है कि एक घर में कितना एक्सपेंडिचर होता है एक मंथ में,
और दूसरा है वैल्यू हाउस होल्ड कंजप्शन इन मंथ, एक घर में फूड फ्री फूड ग्रेन्स लेकर और मतलब कि एक तो फ्री फूड ग्रेन्स लेकर उसके बाद कितना मतलब ये लेकर और उसके बाद कितना कंज्यूम करते हैं वो, इसकी वजह से एक आइडिया मिलता है कि वी कैन ड्रॉ द प्रॉपर लाइन विच कैन डिफाइन प्रॉपर poverty line, and we can fulfill the needs of the people. So this is how this article was important for you. Now let's move to the third important article of today's discussion. It talks about the Xinjiang region in China. You know why it is in the news, because China, they are often blamed that they are violating the human rights there, and for that they brought up many journalists from different parts of the world, and they try to show the freedom and try to compare, dikhana chahte the freedom and control in this region. So about this Xinjiang region in China, it is the northwest province of China. you know it was the port under the various Chinese empires in the history. मतलब कि बहुत सारी Chinese empires जो रहे, it was under the port of them, and for some time it was under the port of different people. If we should know that in 1949, after People's Republic of China was established, the Communist Party, they annexed the Inner Mongolia and the Xinjiang region. And also in 1950, Tibet was annexed and became, and then once the Xinjiang region and the Tibet was annexed, and China became the neighbor, and then China became the neighbor of India. We should know that this Xinjiang region, it was मतलब कि ये एक हमेशा port रहा. It is the port of the ancient India Silk Route. We see very diverse culture in this region. अगर हम देखेंगे तो जो majority इस region में है, that is of the Uyghur Muslims. They are in majority in this region, but they are very minor. They are in minority in the country overall. और जो मतलब कि मतलब अब इस ये जिंगजांग रीजन क्यों ऑफन न्यूज़ में रहता है, क्योंकि ये कहा जाता है कि जो वहाँ पे उइगुर मुस्लिम्स के खिलाफ बहुत सारी ज्यादतियाँ हो जाती है, मतलब कि देयर इज मतलब कि ह्यूमैनिटेरियन क्राइसिस देयर अगेंस्ट देम. मतलब उनको डिटेंशन ग्रुप्स, डिटेंशन क्लासेस, मतलब डिटेंशन सेंटर्स में बिठाया जाता है, और व्हाट चाइना कॉल्स देम री एजुकेटिंग सेंटर्स. मतलब दे आर वेरी मच harming, मतलब discriminating these Uyghur Muslims there. Because of that, this Xinjiang region is often in news. It is said that China has tried to impose communist views on this area, and we should know that the other major tribe in China is the Han community, other major community, and we had often seen that Uyghur Muslims have conflict with Han community, and this Han community, they were the rulers of the China, and the Uyghur Muslims blame them because for the violation they have done to them. And why China is persecuting these Uyghur Muslims there? They are saying that they are connected to the terrorist outfit, which is named as ETIM, which they say that it is the East Turkmenistan terrorist outfit. And China is trying to curb this terrorism there, but that is not the case. World knows the reality. New York, they had given their report over this. They are showed that how these Uyghur Muslims are mistreated there. And now why this was in the news? Because of the when these journalists came there in the Shanzi mosque, the famous mosque in Xinjiang region, the imam of that mosque said to the people that what do you hear in the news? For example, what we had heard that Uyghur Muslims, they are discriminated or they are dehumanized. That is not fully true. It is the anti-West policy towards China. They are spreading it, but we are living peacefully very well here. So this is how the Imam of Shangzi Mosque, protected these claims that it is not totally true. We are not discriminated here, but He also added that the Muslims of the country should adopt to the you know what the Chinese government wants from them. So this was about a little discussion about it. I hope you understood it. It was not that complicated. In this we discussed how in this we discussed how China is trying to show the world that we are very peaceful and we don't discriminate in this region. And also we saw that it is the northwest province of China. you know it was under various Chinese empires. We saw that in 1949 it was annexed by PRC, and it was annexed with the Inner Mongolia, and in 1950 Tibet was also annexed, and then China became the neighbor of India. We saw it a part of ancient Silk Route. We also saw that there is very diverse culture in the region. We see Muslims living there in majority. We see Buddhists. We see Christians living there. And also we see that it is a majority is Uyghur Muslim majority in that place, and we see how China is, you know, मतलब कि हाउ चाइना कैसे उनको मतलब तंग कर रहा है, मतलब कि उनको डिस्क्रिमिनेट कर रहा है, द पीपल द मुस्लिम पीपल लिविंग इन देयर, एंड how they are forcing their communist ideas on them. It is also said that they are forcing the Muslims there to consume alcohol and pork, which are the haram, which are very much prohibited in Islam. So it is often said that they are violating the rights of the Muslim there, but China tried to counter that and brought the media there. So finally, they reached the Shanxi Mosque in that province in the Xinjiang region. The Imam of that mosque said that it is what you hear in the news that is not 100% true. We are living very peacefully here, and there are some elements, but there are some elements of that thing which is happening. But China is claiming that they are the supporters of East Turkmenistan terrorist group, and that's why China is putting them into the detention centers. और दूसरी बात, we had never seen China opposing Pakistan relate अगर हम देखेंगे often Pakistan का stand और China का stand, China would never oppose Pakistan on terrorist issues, but जब इस बात आती है ईस्ट तुर्कमेनिस्तान का terrorist outfit का, then they will oppose that. They raised this voice in SCO summit also, and they urged India to help them in curbing terrorism. And also अगर हम पाकिस्तान का part देखेंगे, they would often talk about Muslims in Kashmir, Muslims in Palestine, but they had never talked about the Uyghur Muslims in China because of their relations. फिर इससे पता चलता है कि जो ये कंट्रीज वो सबसे मतलब these countries they have selfish interests, and it is good to have selfish interests because they try to protect their country itself. They try to protect their interests first. But हम इसमें एक चीज़ भी देखेंगे, it is out of the box, it is out of the discussion, कि हम देख सकते हैं कि एक कंट्री की हिपोक्रेसी कितनी हो सकती है. मतलब कि अगर हम देखेंगे वही पाकिस्तान जो मुस्लिमों का ये कहता है कि वहाँ पे उनके साथ गलत हो रहा है, इधर उनके साथ गलत हो रहा है, but when it comes to the Uyghur Muslims, they would never raise a voice. Or same China, they often when they often support Pakistan when there is an allegation against Pakistan terrorism or something like that. But when it came to the East Turkmenistan issue, they would seek help from India, Russia, so that they can curb this terrorism, and they would put pressure on Pakistan to not support this thing. So this was about this topic. Let's move to the next topic. It is about the national security advisors of US and India. They meet. Why they meet? They meet after the visit of Modi's to Russia. Modi's recent visit to Russia after he became the PM for the third time. It was very much opposed by the West and the US because they warned India that they should not go for this visit, but India still went. So to show the balanced approach of India, these two national security advisors are going to meet, Dole and Sullivan. They are going to meet and going to discuss many things in it. So one of the main important things is to इनको यूएस को दिखाना कि we are not against you but we have the balanced relationship with Russia also, so it should not bother them. और दूसरी बात, there are some issue, मतलब some discussion about the Quad meetings are going to happen. We know the members are US, Australia, Japan and India, so there is going to be some meeting regarding that, so that would be discussed in it. Also अगर हम देखेंगे the US they are urging India कि यार तुम अब रशिया के साथ तुम्हारा वैसे मतलब वो दोस्ताना नहीं है, बिकॉज रशिया इज गोइंग टू बी द एलाई ऑफ चाइना। और जब भी टाइम आएगा, एंड दिस इज ट्रू, आई एग्री हियर, आई एग्री विद द यूएस, दिस माई पर्सनल ओपिनियन, यू मे टेक इट और यू मे नॉट। अगर कभी भी रशिया और चाइना और इंडिया का वॉर हो जाएगा, रशिया विल ईदर कीप क्वाइट और दे विल सपोर्ट द चाइना, they will not go against China. So it is, I guess, it is my personal view that India should understand the selfish interest here. You know, they know there is trade is going on there, oil trade is going on there, but they should keep it in their, you know, in their मतलब कि इनको पता होना चाहिए कि that it is time to move towards west. I guess this is my personal you know this is what I personally feel. They should develop their relationship with US, better. They should have better relationship with US and the West rather than upsetting them. This is my personal view. You may take it or you may not. You have your opinion, so please discuss about it. Such questions may come. These opinion based questions do come in the exam, so have a good opinion over this. Moving to the next topic of today's discussion, it is about the CPI data brought out for the month of June. Here we see the high jump in the inflation of the food inflation. It reached to the 9.4%. Why? Because of the seasonal distractions, for example, failure of rains and all that. So this can be controlled. Then we also see the increase in the headline inflation at 5.4%. About headline inflation, it provides the rise in prices based on basket of goods which are surveyed. It is very vulnerable for changes in food and energy. अगर हम फिर हमें मिलता है कोर इन्फ्लेशन क्या होती है? हेडलाइन इन्फ्लेशन माइनस फूड इन्फ्लेशन एंड एनर्जी इन्फ्लेशन। अगर इन दो को हम निकालेंगे तो हमें मिलता है कोर इन्फ्लेशन। बिकॉज जो हेडलाइन इन्फ्लेशन में सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट रहता है फूड और एनर्जी का, उसकी वजह से ये हाई हो जाती है। So to understand the inflation in the country overall, we have to understand the core inflation. We have to understand all these inflations separately, so that we would understand which part of the economy is inflating and which part is stable. Now let's move to the next topic. It is about Samvidhan Hatya Divas. During elections, the opposition government, opposition leaders, they often alleged that the PM Modi and the BJP government, they are going to alter the constitution. They are not going to, मतलब ये पूरे constitution को change करना चाहते हैं, and they kept that. They often, you would have seen that they often had the copy of the constitution in the hand, so that to show the world, to show the country that we are the sole protectors of the constitution. But this is the right now it is the political game going on right now, and who knows what its impact would be. तो फिर अब हमने what we are seeing that the 25th of the June is to be marked as the Samvidhan Hatya Divas. Why? Because at the same day, the Indira Gandhi, PM Indira Gandhi, she imposed emergency on the same day, and so that on the same day she imposed the emergency, and it is said that on that day she in our lay terms we could say that कि उसने उस वक्त कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को पूरा ख़त्म किया और कोई रेस्पेक्ट नहीं की, because she went against the constitution. So to show the world that now what the government of India is trying to do, to show the world the importance of the constitution, they had marked that 25th of June the Samvidhan Hatya Divas. So I guess this would lead to the huge debate. This would lead to huge criticism, and there would be more to come in regarding this. Let us see and watch what will happen in next in next class which we have to take, or next days, in coming days. Let's see what will happen. Now, coming to the last topic of today's discussion, it talks about the researchers in found the Zoological Survey of India. You know, the researchers, they have found a new species of dogfish shark. You know, it is a shark variant. This dogfish shark, it is a shark variant. It has belonged to the Sucellus genus of shark. It belongs to the Sucellus genus of shark. It has a very unique dorsal fin. It is discovered in Kerala, Shakti Kulangra harbor, where it was discovered. It is considered to be threatened and are hunted for liver oil. So, with this, we conclude today's discussion. I hope I did not fumble that much today. I hope I was able to explain these articles to you in the simplest possible way. I am improving day by day, and I will promise you that I will be best by time. Please give your time to me and trust. Sometimes I may fumble, but the information which I give is 100% valid and it is to the point. And this is what you need for your preparation. So my request to you guys, please do subscribe to this channel. When you subscribe, it gives us the energy to work more hard. And please do share it with your friends, and do like the video if you like it. And please do write in the comments what are the things which we should improve. So thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. Best of luck.